purple political talk here, and today we're going to be doing a video about the 2020 presidential election and going through the actual scenarios right now, like the realistic scenarios. So we're going to be filling our safe states, and as we fill in our safe states, I'm just going to talk about the things that have changed over time, and most importantly, we have seen a big change when it comes to um, Joe Biden's campaign. Last week he was having a very good campaign time, and he was becoming more and more popular. But as time has gone on, Donald Trump has started to go through his rallies and things like that, and things are changing. So we're going to analyze the 2020 presidential election as if it were today, and that's going to be the prediction up to this point. And just looking at it, Donald Trump is gaining support. And Joe Biden is either losing or not gaining support, which is important. Because remember, you still have a big majority of voters who are not yet decided on who they want to vote for president. There are those undecided voters that are very important in these races. And it's important to acknowledge those people because those are the people that on polls, if you're going to base it off polls, they vote no opinion. Or they're the same type of people that don't really say who they're voting for. And that is a big thing because Joe Biden is at 50% in most states. 50% in like the swing states. If Joe Biden can't grow with the people who have no opinion in the polls, that means that he possibly is not at the same level of support as he might have been expected to. So this is going to be our starting map, and I'm going to start by filling in some of our Democratic likely states. At this point, states like Nevada, Colorado, Virginia, and New Hampshire are pretty solid for the Democratic Party. And they're more solid in the sense that these states went for Hillary Clinton. And remember, Hillary Clinton was at a very low time, at a very low point in her political career when talking about the 2016 presidential election. And considering that Joe Biden is slightly more popular and all these different things, he's probably going to win there by 5 to 10 points. Right now, I would say that they're probably at 7.5 points because we were at a point where he was leading at all-time highs, but his support has started to shrink. And there are many different factors to these predictions, but with these states, it's just analyzing the types of voters, the minority voters, and how these voters vote. And just with some of the showings from the midterms in 2018, which, I mean, is not one of the best signs of an election, but it's a good one. And these states, the suburbs specifically, moved a lot further to the left of the Democratic Party. And as we keep on talking about this, I'm going to move on to our Republican likely states. Although states like Iowa, Ohio, and Georgia could become close, I think when Joe Biden was leading conservatively, he was probably winning, losing there by just a lean margin. Donald Trump was winning there by a lean margin. But now, I think it's back into the likely column, and it's honestly still up for grabs for the Democratic Party, but up for grabs does not mean it's a done deal. So for that reason, I'm going to leave these states as likely states for the Donald Trump campaign. And specifically, there's just little reasons in each of these states. In Georgia, it's probably because although there's going to be higher African American turnout, although the media might make it seem like there's going to be heavy turnout, that oftentimes is not doesn't go and translate. You could say that there's going to be 15 million people turn out to the election in one state, the whole state population that can vote. That's never going to happen. There's never been an election with 100% turnout. There's been elections close to 100%, but never 100%. And for that reason, like, realistically, Georgia, Texas, Iowa, Ohio, they could go Democratic. And if there was 100% turnout, yes, it would be by a big margin. But as of right now, these states would be in the likely column. And as we talk about these likely states, I would like also to include Nebraska's second congressional district. These two districts are very interesting because we don't have that much data to analyze of. But in Maine's second congressional district, we can see that there is a lot of conservative voices in that district, along with the fact that it's a rural district. So the appeal that Donald Trump has there is pretty good. And when it comes to Nebraska's second congressional district, it's a little bit of a different story, because it's more a little bit of an urban area with a lot of rural areas surrounding it. But I think at the end of the day, that district has a pretty good chance of going to Donald Trump's too. So that's all of our likely states as we move on to our Democratic lean states. At this point in time, I feel states like Minnesota, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and the state of Arizona, these four states are currently in a position where Joe Biden is winning there by lean margins from 3 to 5%. These are key districts, and not districts, but key states where Joe Biden has to win in order to become the next president of the United States. Without these states, it is nearly impossible for Joe Biden to win the presidency. And it would have to become a game of, if I lose here, where can I pick up these votes? So, realistically, he could lose Michigan, but he have to win North Carolina. Or he could lose Wisconsin and Pennsylvania and win Florida. Realistically, that doesn't really matter, but it does, because at the end of the day, the Rust Belt is very solid for Biden at this point. But as we get closer to election day, we're going to have the voters who might see some parts of the economy and things like that. And that could make the election change. But as of right now, the Rust Belt is pretty solid for Joe Biden. But things can definitely change. And now that we looked at those states, I'm going to talk about my Republican lean state. And there's just only one. And it's the state of Florida. For a long time, I felt the state of Florida would be in the lean column. If you haven't watched our Latino or Hispanic video analysis, go check it out. It's a collaboration with 2020 election predictions, and it's a really good video. But we talked about how there's different Hispanic populations in different areas, and a lot of people have a misconception that Florida is full of these Democratic Hispanics, when the reality is there's a lot more Republican Hispanics in the state of Florida than there are Democratic Hispanics. Along with that, since you have that turnout from those Hispanics, you also have very big support from just white suburban voters and white college educated women and non-educated college not educated, and these people are heavily trending for Donald Trump in the suburbs. So for that reason, we might be able to see Donald Trump win there by 2 or 3 points. Things can definitely change, and if Donald Trump loses support from some of these suburbs in Florida, then he will be in trouble. But right now, Joe Biden, what he has to do is, one, turn out African American populations in Florida. Someone like Val Demings would have been a very good candidate for that. And in addition to just turning out African American populations, appeal to the suburban voter and appeal to the Latino voters, the more conservative Latinos. But that is a specific scenario that realistically has to be predicted and actually projected accurately a couple days before the election. And the last two states that are left are Wisconsin and North Carolina. So I think Wisconsin is going to be the closest of the Rust Belt states, and North Carolina would probably be the closest regular state in this election. As of right now, Wisconsin and North Carolina are looking like two states that have very good Republican bases, and Donald Trump is at striking distance of winning these states. All he really had to do was just put a little bit more money and effort into these states, and he could probably take them. But as of right now, Joe Biden has somewhat of a lead in these states. And as we progress and get closer to election day, we're going to be seeing the closer impacts of these elections. So at the end of the day, I think that Joe Biden has lost a lot of his support since Donald Trump is gaining back some support. And it's not losing support, but rather not gaining. And that's important. You have to gain independent votes. If you don't get the independent votes, you're losing the election. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, please give it a huge thumbs up. Like and subscribe and check out my past videos. Do you want to get a class on how to make an election night? Become a patron and support the channel, and you could even get a class to show how to make an election night. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.